When I was younger, I could go outside and see a tree for what it is, a tree. Now that's barely the case, and I think I'm literally experiencing maths brain rot. I first came to this realization when I was walking down the road, thinking about some irrelevant problem, and concluded that there were multiple solutions to it. At that moment, I stopped and something in my head went, where have I heard that before? And from then on, I would notice maths in real life at every opportunity. My maths teacher in year 8 and 9, a very quotable man, once said, I like to teach maths instead of geography because maths isn't real and I get to be paid for lying to you. And yet here I was, looking up at a road sign, thinking of sign, and it doesn't stop there. The 3-letter version is sin, as in haram, and sinus is the Polish word for sign, spelled just like sinus, so now I can't even think about my own nose anymore. The same thing happens when I see people using sign language, or when someone is signing up to or signing anything, and you bet when I found out co-signing existed, cosine immediately came to mind. How likely I was to write sign versus sign in any given case is like political horseshoe theory, which is coincidentally a cosine graph where x is between minus 180 and 180, but instead of the x-axis being left and right, the far left is the day I was born, and the far right is today, while the y-axis, rather than being support for a cause, is how likely I was to write sign versus sign, with trigonometrical sign being negative and normal sign being positive. And I'm not safe from tangent either. There's this underrated album by Cult that I like called Tan, and you already know what I'm thinking every time I listen to any song on it. And on another approach, my family argue a lot. When someone is ranting about something, you could say that they're going on a tangent, or when the weather gets good at any point in this country and I go touch some grass, rather than argue, everyone's suddenly trying to get us some tan, and we're back to square one. Coming back to politics, another thing that makes me think of asymptotes are swastikas. I know. The Buddhist version sort of makes a tangent graph, and the Nazi version sort of makes a co-tangent graph. Speaking of radicals, that's not a word we use where I live, but now that I know it means roots, which look like ticks, I'll never see extremists the same way again. And apparently, they sometimes use bullet points to represent multiplication, so there's another bit of punctuation that's changed for me, alongside factorial exclamation marks, commas as digit separators, full stops as decimal. And I'm not quite done with roots, because when I found out what really happens when you try to get the square root of a negative number, my entire perception of the alphabet was shaken. And I looked at the wider alphabet and started seeing a whole host of other things. And now imagine I was Greek and had to deal with their alphabet every day. I would die from all the mathematical symbols. And then there's proofs, which also used to mean a lot more to me, but now it's just proofs that part of maths that I don't get. And also the concept of integrity is now just synonymous with integrals, and even the very idea of something deriving from something makes me think about derivatives first. And I'm not even taking further maths, so I don't even need to know about half these things. This is definitely beyond just associating pi with pies, but maybe this is another thing I can blame my primary school for, because after all, they taught me to recognize long division as the Boston method, isosceles triangles as sausages, acute angles as cute, and reflex angles with reflexes, though I've not really helped it by using obese to remember obtuse, hippos to remember the hypotenuse, and history to remember histograms, but whatever. I wouldn't describe this as an obsession, but rather something that I can't stop thinking about, because I keep having to do it. Though, maybe it'll pay off someday and I'll get a particularly good grade in maths, but then who knows how much longer maths occupies my brain.